This is the Harbor Freight 6-ton jack stand that was recalled yesterday. This one is 61,197. Apparently the variation because of worn out tooling is too high, and the pawl is not engaging into the extension deep enough so that when the load is shifted, and I think what that probably means when the load gets shifted to the right in this case, the pawl becomes disengaged from the extension. And on this particular one, you can see where I kind of raised the pawl up just a little bit, and it looks like from use, you can kind of see where this worn mark is. That's how much engagement you're getting between the pawl and the extension. It's probably right in that area there. I wasn't sure of that though, so I thought I'd check it I was going to take a little bit of clay here. This is just plumber's putty, and I'm going to put that on the pawl, and then I'm going to put the extension in a shifted position, which would be worst case, and see how much of this putty is getting compressed. And from that, I'll be able to see how much engagement I'm getting between the pawl and the extension. And then I thought I'd compare that to this other jack stand here that was another model number. This one was a 62-393 that was not recalled. At least yet, as of yet, it hasn't been recalled. But who knows what we'll find. Now this one has a little different wear pattern, and it looks like it's gotten a little bit deeper, into the tooth on the extension. But we'll take a look with the putty and see how much engagement we're getting. Okay, going in, this is what the putty looks like. It's just kind of stuck onto the top of the pawl, and we'll put the extension in, and then I'll shift this to the right and see how much of that putty is getting compressed, and from that we'll be able to see how much engagement's happening. Found a spot here for this, and it seems to want to rest to the right anyway, so I didn't have to worry about trying to set that. Now I'll just pull this out, and I only got one hand available, so I'll pause and pull it out, and we'll take a look at the putty. Okay, so you can see there that it does look like it's the shiny area that is engaging on this one. Maybe slightly over 2 millimeters, and that's where the putty got wiped off, right at where that wear mark is. And you can see that on the tooth, that's where the putty ended up. So it did get a couple millimeters of engagement. So this particular build of jack stand is probably okay. I'd like to see a little more metal in there than just that little tiny bit, but I don't think that this particular one would have needed to be recalled. I'm going to take them back anyway. So what I'm going to do now is just take another little bit of putty and put it on this one and compare the two, and I'll just go back and forth between the two jacks and see how much engagement we got between the two of them. I don't think this particular one is necessarily unsafe, just because you're getting some engagement. I've seen some of the videos where people were showing they could completely move the extension up and down even though this was in the closed position. But let's take a look at what happens with the other one. A clayed version of the non-recalled jack stand, and you can see, although it didn't completely wipe the clay away, you can see a little ridge in the clay down here where you would have engagement, although it looks like it's just sitting right on the edge of the pawl. It moved the clay out of the way a little bit further back. And this one, I'm going to guess that's about 3 millimeters of metal engagement on the non-recalled version, right there to where the line in the clay is, not necessarily where the clay is missing, but where the line is. And that gives you a little bit extra metal, because this pawl gets wider as you go down. You can see from the cross section of it. So you want as much of that metal in there as you can get. And this looks like it engages by about 3 millimeters. It's not as much as I always thought it would be, because I've never really looked at these things before. But the recall version is less than that. It looks like maybe only about 2 millimeters here. But nonetheless, I think this probably, like I said, was not an unsafe sample, but nonetheless it continued to drift until people were buying these and they weren't holding up at all. But so I'll take these back. I've got obviously 2 of these. I thought what it might be worth a sacrifice would be to just get out the ironically a Harbor Freight cutting wheel and just cut this open and be able to see from a side view how much tooth engagement you're getting. And then I'd have to weld that back together and paint it and take it back. So because they obviously didn't want to sacrifice a whole refundable jack stand for that. But it'd be interesting to see from a side view comparison of a good jack like this one, or supposedly good, versus the recalled one, and be able to actually see it while it was engaged. So that's it for now. Thank you.